Hi there, this is Lee. And with this video, I'm going to talk about several subjects. I'm going to talk about ballot access for the Green Party in Virginia. I'm going to talk about the vice presidential debate in Virginia. That's going to be October 4th. I'm going to talk about Ajamu Baraka. I'm going to talk about the prison industrial complex, the 1994 crime bill, and Hillary Clinton and her contribution to the slaughter of African American men and women in our streets by the police. The 1994 crime bill was championed by Hillary Clinton. She was an active participant in giving that crime bill legitimacy. She helped Bill Clinton get that enacted as policy. So it was no longer a dream of the Reagan years, the Reagan Bush years. It was no longer a notion. Bill and Hillary Clinton both ensured that the mass incarceration of African men and women would become law, would become social policy, would become legitimized and accepted in the United States. They too are responsible for what we are seeing in our streets today. Shootings of unarmed men and women, killings within the prison industrial complex, within police holding cells, and a society in which it has become acceptable for police to stalk, hunt, harass, kill, and maim and injure, if they're lucky, and execute these men and women even without being charged, without being convicted, without being tried. They've appointed themselves judge, jury, and executioner of African American men and women. The 1994 crime bill led us here, and Hillary Clinton led the effort on the 1994 crime bill. She used words of hatred, vicious hatred, that unleashed the police force upon the youth, two generations, the people who were of age when the 1994 crime bill first became enacted, and that would be Generation X, and then now the children of those who are now of age. They are the ones that are naive and being put in the jail cells. If they're lucky, they get that far, but they're now being shot and killed in the streets. Hillary Clinton was co-president. She was described that way. She displayed that activity while Bill Clinton was in office and she was his first lady. She was a full participant. She attended meetings, she attended briefings, she worked on policies. She was a lobbyist for Bill Clinton and his policies. What he did, she did. Two for the price of one. She was co-president. She ran on her record as Bill Clinton's first lady. She ran on her record of her participation in his administration. She's the one who wants to bring Bill Clinton back into power to run our economy. And that brings us to NAFTA, which Hillary Clinton also lobbied for. And now we've got NAFTA's greatest incarnation, NAFTA 10.0, which is Trans-Pacific Partnership, which Hillary Clinton called the gold standard. She had no defense for when Donald Trump hit her on that. He was right. Hillary Clinton lobbied for Trans-Pacific Partnership in public. She spoke of it positively 45 separate occasions. Not until Bernie Sanders showed a rising surge in popularity because of his stance against Trans-Pacific Partnership. Not until then did she change her mind. And let's get back to the prison industrial complex. Not until about the same time that she relinquished her support for Trans-Pacific Partnership, did she relinquish the money that she received from the prison lobby for her efforts in supporting that, which is a slave system because slavery is legal underneath the 13th Amendment for prisoners of the state. So she helped to construct a slave system filled with nonviolent drug abusers who were usually African American for the most part, and then Latino as well. She built that slave system and then found the means, the mechanisms, the policy to fill it and keep it filled and keep it occupied. And she received money from the prison industrial complex, the lobbyists who wanted to keep high occupancy through these strict drug laws. So Hillary Clinton is up to her shoulders in the death, the mayhem, the chaos, and destruction which has gone into keeping that prison industrial complex operational. She was paid for that. And up until Black Lives Matter confronted her, despite her condescending attitude towards them, her smugness, her contemptuous looks, and her disbelief that she would ever be questioned for her role in such a matter, she relinquished her support once it became apparent that she was on the wrong side of history. Now, she didn't relinquish the money that she earned. She used that to buy her house, and now she's bought a second house. So she's doing fine. She's gotten her money. She's relinquished her support. And now the prison industrial complex is being used to house illegal immigrants. So it goes on. We may see a reduction because of Barack Obama wants to make these superfluous, at least at the federal level, at least the private prison. But there's still a lot to be accomplished in reversing what the 1994 crime bill has created in our society. It made it open season on African American men and women and Latinos as well. It made it acceptable to kill them. Hands up, hands reaching for identification, people just walking down the street, people in their cars, no matter that there's no crime in progress, it made it acceptable for the police to kill them and then make up a story or an excuse later. And so Hillary Clinton is complicit. She is trying her very best to put this on Donald Trump somehow, and it's just mind-boggling that she doesn't recognize her role. And it's actually scary that she does not recognize that it was her participation, her eagerness to receive the money and to spend the money as a participant in the prison industrial complex and the perpetuation of it and the harm and the destruction that it caused in African American communities, that she does not even acknowledge her own role in this. It's the saddest thing, the scariest thing that you can ever see. And it's not like she was just a bystander. She's trying to say, well, it's my husband, and I didn't, and it was the state, it wasn't federal. But she was the senator from New York from 2000 to 2008 until she became the Secretary of State. So she was a senator. She was in a position to introduce legislation to reverse the effects of the 1994 crime bill. She did nothing. Even during the height of stop and frisk in New York, she did nothing. Stop and frisk was ruled unconstitutional, but not through any means of lobbying or support that she did. She did nothing. She said nothing. She introduced no legislation, even though she was right there in the Senate, the wife of a former president with influence who chose not to use her influence. And the prisons kept on filling. from 2000 and 2008, and she kept receiving her checks from the prison lobby and cashing those checks and filling up her campaign coffers off of those checks. So we have Hillary Clinton, who's said a lot to cause harm, done a lot to cause harm, and then we have Donald Trump, who's said a lot of stuff, but he's really not caused anything to the degree of what Hillary Clinton has set in motion. People are being killed. They're losing their lives. And her response is, well, we need some training. We need some reform. We need some communication. We need some respect. We need some trust. We need some understanding. No. We need prosecutions. Not only that, we need convictions. That's what we need. And so for the people who are saying this is the lesser evil, I'm going to vote for it. Power concedes nothing without a demand. What are your demands? And has she met them? If she has met them, why would you even concede your power to her? We need prosecutions. There may be one, there may be a couple who have actually been brought up on charges. How many thousands have gone unaddressed? We need prosecutions. We don't need reform. We need prosecutions. We need to know that it's going to be understood from now on that this will not go unaddressed. We don't need training. We don't need reform. We don't need communication. We don't need understanding. We need prosecutions. Not only that, we need convictions. Not only that, we need justice. That's what we need. And so Hillary Clinton is coming out with all these platitudes, all these things that sound like, oh, we need to understand. And it sounds good. Where's the prosecution? Where is the conviction? Where is the justice for all these lives destroyed? I haven't heard anything solid from her. And until she comes up with something solid, why would you even consider giving your vote for her? There needs to be a concession in the form of actual concrete convictions of the people who decide that they are the judge, jury, and executioner of the prison system, of the criminal justice system. So you need more. Have higher expectations of your presidential candidates than you have had until now. You have the author, the creator, the engineer of this prison industrial complex, of a criminal justice system that has been militarized and then directed and targeted at African American communities. She is the one who created this. She is the reason why there have been so many extrajudicial killings in our streets. Hillary Clinton. Have some higher expectations. Know your power. You don't have to vote for her until you see that she uses her influence, her connections, her accountability, her responsibility for what she created to exact some accountability from what she created. Until then, I say don't vote for her. Until you get prosecutions, don't vote for her. You get words. Words are not prosecutions. So that's Hillary Clinton. So now I'm going to talk about the vice presidents. There's a vice presidential contest. It's going to be in the state of Virginia, which is also the home state of Tim Kaine, former governor, Hillary Clinton's vice president. Tim Kaine, when he was governor of Virginia, presided over a pretty sizable prison system to the point that it's disenfranchised so many voters that Terry McAuliffe has decided to re-enfranchise them in an effort to support Hillary Clinton's campaign. So again, their decision making is not about human rights or even justice. It's about Hillary Clinton and what Hillary Clinton needs. Hillary Clinton needs votes. So now these people who have gone through the prison system as felons will get restoration of their voting rights for Hillary Clinton, not just for being the right thing to do. It's for Hillary Clinton. When you think about it, the prison system that Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton helped to create, it actually disenfranchised about 2.2 million African American men and women. Some of them permanently, and some the hurdles are so high that they just have not been able to get their voting rights back. And it's to the point that we have 500 election observers coming to monitor our system. People are looking at the United States and realizing it's still land of the free, home of the slave. And so these people have been disenfranchised largely due to Bill and Hillary Clinton's slave system, the prison system, the crime bill, that it's come to the point where she doesn't have enough votes. She doesn't have enough votes on her side to defeat Donald Trump. That's the chickens coming home to roost. And so that's the case in Virginia, the site of the vice presidential debates, Longwood University. We know that Mike Pence, the vice president for Donald Trump, is going to be in attendance. And then Tim Kaine, the vice president for Hillary Clinton, is going to be in attendance. Ajamu Baraka, we're not so sure about that. There's some indication that he may participate, perhaps in a way similar to what Jill Stein accomplished via social media, which was very well done. Or he may be on stage along with William Weld. But it's just so weird to me that we have no representation of a military person, veteran, at the top of the ticket of any of the top 4 tickets. Ajamu Baraka is the only veteran who is in the race, and if he is not in the debates, it would be the United States silencing the voice of the veterans, the voice of the military, and the sole African American too, while people talk around about what veterans need, about what to do with our military and foreign policy, talk about what's best for African Americans. And meanwhile, that representation is excluded and silenced and marginalized by the Commission of Presidential Debates, which is pro Hillary Clinton. And so it would be nice if Ajamu Baraka was given a chance to participate in order to speak on these many human rights issues. What's been going on with the shooting and the fact that Hillary Clinton is standing on stage saying silly stuff, and Donald Trump is standing on stage not making much sense either. And they're both just blah, 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 blah about African Americans, what's going on in their communities. And there is a voice that's being excluded. It's sick. It's sick, and the fact that it seems to not be noticed by either campaign is also sick. Ajamu Baraka deserves to be in the debates. And actually, for some of us, he needs to be in the debates because it's become a matter of life and death now. Okay, so I spoke of Ajamu Baraka being a military veteran, and I checked out Mike Pence and Tim Kaine. Mike Pence is not a veteran himself. However, his son is in the Marines. Mike Pence has a very ultra right-wing conservative outlook on domestic and foreign policy, as well as he's a former member or maybe a current member of the Tea Party. And so if you go to perhaps his Wikipedia page, you'll get a full discussion of that. If you go to Tim Kaine's Wikipedia page, you'll also see that he is the father of Marine too. So they have connections to the military, but neither of them have served. And so we thank their sons for their service. The fact that the fathers raised sons who put on uniforms and went out to serve their country. But Ajamu Baraka himself put on a uniform and went to serve the country. He has firsthand knowledge of the world from a military standpoint. Also, his work with human rights around the world informs him of foreign policy too. And so I'm going to go to Ajamu Baraka's Wikipedia page and do a quick run through. I've already done a discussion of Ajamu Baraka in a previous video, but now it looks like information has been drastically updated. And so I'm going to do another run through. He grew up on the south side of Chicago. After the military, he moved to the southern United States. He became involved in anti-apartheid activism. And whether it was U.S. anti-apartheid activism or whether he worked with South African anti-apartheid activism, it's the right side of history we know now. He attended Clark Atlanta. He worked on Central America Solidarity Movement. And then he was the executive director and founder of the Human Rights Network. And so he served on the boards of Amnesty International, Center for Constitutional Rights, Africa Action. And if there's any doubt of his human rights gravitas, doubt no longer. His resume is long, vast, and solid on human rights issues. And so he was part of the effort in South Dakota to do civil disobedience to bring attention to what's happening with the Standing Rock Sioux and the Dakota Access Pipeline. He took a stand with Jill Stein, and so there is a warrant out for his arrest as well. But again, those of you who do not know now, I'm sure will soon realize that he was on the right side of history along with Jill Stein on that issue. Much of his writings have appeared in Black Agenda Report, Common Dreams, Dissident Voice, Pambazaku News, Counterpunch, and other such media outlets. And so if there's any doubt about his progressive outlook, it's very well documented too. So definitely human rights, progressive values, things like that. Domestic policy, he's worked with victims of Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Rita. He once again worked with Louisiana flood victims of this year. And he's made comparisons saying that even under a Bush administration where he heavily criticized George Bush, he has also criticized Barack Obama for his unprepared response to this calamity that has occurred on Obama's watch, and the response was inadequate. So even while there is criticism of Ajamu Baraka's criticism of Obama, at least it shows that he is honest, he is forthright, and he is balanced in how he views either one or the other. He is not partisan on this issue. His focus is on human rights, not partisan Democrat or Republican. He'll criticize George Bush. He was equally critical of Barack Obama. And so he's also commented on drug policy, getting back to that 1994 crime bill. And he says that it's caused police departments to become militarized and unleashed. And so he's basically in favor of granting clemency to individuals convicted of marijuana-related offenses. And he's calling prison sentences for nonviolent drug convictions a waste of taxpayers' money. And so some people have called Ajamu Baraka's views on these issues fringe, saying that it's radical. And that boggles my mind, that someone would consider human rights a fringe idea or a radical idea. Race relations, again, he's focusing on police brutality and the state-sponsored violence against civilians. He's also interested he's commented on the Trans-Pacific Partnership NAFTA, and other free trade agreements. And he's saying that TPP is basically a weapon to maintain U.S. global hegemony by denying the fundamental economic, social, and cultural rights of millions of people in order to benefit a parasitic white minority ruling class in the United States. He said that. And so there it is. These are his views, uncut, unvarnished, in your face. He's very direct. He doesn't sugarcoat. He doesn't choose sides like, I won't criticize him because he's black like me and he's a Democrat and supposedly a liberal. Now, he'll criticize over here and over there as well. Foreign policy, there's discussion here of his views on Israel. He's talked about Syria and Iraq, also Ukraine, Nigeria. He goes through it, and he's made comments again on the Obama administration and their foreign policy, the use of drone strikes, the use of military interventions, and regime changes. He's spoken about even the Charleston massacre with Dylann Roof, saying he is against the death penalty, even though Dylann Roof slaughtered African Americans. Ajamu Baraka is steady in his support for anti-death penalty policies, regardless of the format of the demographic involved. He was this way before, he's this way now, he's this way, he's steady. And so he's pro-human. He's pro-human. And again, he'll lower the boom and say what he thinks of whatever he thinks to whoever or about whatever he thinks. He's commented on Barack Obama. He's commented on Bernie Sanders. He's commented on Bill Clinton. He's commented on Cornel West and Beyonce. So regardless of whose feelings, he'll say exactly and precisely what he thinks about certain issues. And people kind of say, oh, how dare you say this? Is it true? I mean, that's the question you have to ask yourself. Yeah, he said it. Maybe it cut, but was it true? And this is unfortunate because it's across the board. He isn't sparing anyone. Even Cornel West, who himself criticized the president, Barack Obama, and offended many. Cornel West criticized Barack Obama. Many people were offended, but now many people have come to see a different side of what Cornel West said. Cornel West was slightly more diplomatic. Ajamu Baraka was not. When human rights are involved, he is not going to sugarcoat anything. He is pro-human, pro-society, and he's going to say what he's going to say. That's why I would like to see him in the vice presidential debates. We've had so much yapping and blabbing and blah 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 from Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump on this issue. They both misunderstand what is happening. Hillary Clinton doesn't even want to understand. She just wants to take advantage. We saw the email leak from, I can't even keep track of who these hackers are, but one of them did reveal a memo showing that the Democratic Party, their recommendation for their candidates, to just entertain the Black Lives Matter movement, blow smoke, and not really give them any concrete policies. Just pretend and act and say something to show that you are sympathetic, but do nothing. Say anything, do nothing, like Barack Obama has said about Hillary Clinton. And what is Hillary Clinton doing in the debates? She is saying anything, but she is doing nothing to stop what she started with the 1994 crime bill, and the fact that she profited from the 1994 crime bill, and the fact that she fed upon the prison industrial complex and the people who were occupying those prisons, African American men and women. she'll say anything. What has she done? Nothing. And for that reason, we can look at Tim Kaine, who presided over 11 executions as a governor of Virginia, who has said he didn't really like it, but he took an oath to do it, so they had to die. He was protecting his job. He was protecting his job. Ajamu Baraka was protecting the people. Tim Kaine protected his job and sacrificed the people. Ajamu Baraka, first, last, second, third, even for Dylan Ruth, he's protecting the people, saying he's anti-death penalty in word and in deed. And so that's why I do believe that Ajamu Baraka belongs on stage in the debates. People have been talking around and about African American men and women for a while now, saying a lot, doing nothing, deliberately not trying to understand the real reasons and issues. We need someone in the debates who has lived that life, who knows for a fact of what's happening, who has himself put on a uniform and gone overseas to fight to protect the United States. And maybe some people who have interviewed Ajamu Baraka have bothered to thank him for his service, and perhaps not. But it would be nice if he was shown the same courtesy as Mike Pence, as Tim Kaine, and then hopefully William Weld will be shown that courtesy as well. And if not, then I do hope that Ajamu Baraka do something similar to Jill Stein if the Commission of Presidential Debates continues to perpetrate this fraud, as the League of Women Voters calls it, upon the U.S. voter, that Ajamu Baraka still not let that silence his voice, that he cuts himself into the debate, he edits himself into the footage, and releases some concrete policies for the electorate to consider and to demand of both major parties, Hillary Clinton's VP, Donald Trump's VP as well. And then the candidates themselves, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, they need to be confronted on this issue. We need prosecutions. We need convictions, not words. Don't just say something, do something. Good luck.